اور اس وقت آپ کو براہ راست لیے چلیں گے جہاں پر ڈی جی آئی ایس پی آر میجر جنرل بابر افتخار میڈیا سے راولپنڈی میں گفتگو کر رہے ہیں.
I restrict myself strictly to the military context of this whole situation and try and dilate on the security related issues only. As far as the military situation unfolding in Afghanistan is concerned, what happened preceding 15th of August, that was the day when the Afghan government, Ashraf Ghani government in Afghanistan fell. Preceding 15th August, the military situation unfolded rather rapidly, and I think it was against everybody's expectations. However, since withdrawal of US and NATO forces in Afghanistan was already decided, it was a given, it was never a matter of if, but a matter of when. So Pakistan had already started taking those measures which we needed to take to guard the Pakistan-Afghanistan international border in the best possible way, to manage it well and to ensure security and stability on this side of the border. And needless to say that we have no doubt that if Pakistan's side of the border is secure and stable and the movement on both sides is controlled, it is definitely going to have a positive impact on the other side. And that was the sole reason, of course, staying stable on our side, but also trying to get it reciprocated on the other side. How did it unfold? What kind of assistance did we get? What kind of a response did we get? How were we reciprocated on this account? I will talk about it as I go through my brief. To start with, let's just talk about the events immediately preceding 15th August and what has happened after that in the here and now. And then I will take you slightly back in the years to kind of contextualize of what efforts have we been making all along. Now, the details that I will be sharing with you, most of these details have been shared with you on different occasions of what we've been doing. But to talk about it once again, to reiterate what has been done, the effort is, the idea is to contextualize the whole thing, that how it was directly related to what was happening in Afghanistan. Preceding 15th August, on several instances, the notified border crossings on Pakistan-Afghanistan international border, they were closed and reopened because of the fluctuating situation on the other side. Then on more than 2 occasions, several Afghan soldiers belonging to the Afghan National Army, they entered Pakistan seeking a safe passage because there were fears of Taliban attacking their posts. They were accepted, they were looked after, and they were given the safe passage back into their country under the military norms. And we also shared these details with you on a couple of occasions. While we were anticipating the way situation was going to unfold, and there was a chance of instability along the border, so we moved our regular troops already deployed in the border regions. We moved our regular troops on the important notified crossings at the Pakistan-Afghanistan international border to ensure that the border control was well managed. As you would know that there are about 78 crossings along Pakistan-Afghanistan international border, with 17 of them being notified, and all the illegal crossings in this lead up were closed. Immediately after 15th of August, as things unfolded, the terminals and all border crossings have been kept open because I think a major reason is that Afghanistan is a landlocked country and you cannot close the borders indefinitely because on humanitarian grounds as well. So all the crossings have been, notified crossings have been kept open. The trade convoys are also continuously moving on both sides. Right now, the biggest base in the near immediate vicinity of Afghanistan for evacuation of foreigners from Afghanistan is in Pakistan. I think more than 5,500 foreign nationals have been evacuated. There are, I think, as of now, we have the figures of about 113 flights which have landed from Afghanistan in Pakistan, in Islamabad, mostly military aircrafts and commercial aircrafts. So I would say that the situation right now along the Pakistan-Afghanistan international border is fairly normal. And Alhamdulillah, there has been no untoward incident in the border regions. So, summing up the situation, I'll now just try and contextualize the efforts that when we started these efforts and what was happening when we were undergoing different phases of the operations that we underwent. Let me establish it right at the start. I think other than Afghanistan and other than the people of Afghanistan, the biggest victims of this conflict have been the people of Pakistan. We've had the maximum brunt of whatever has unfolded in Afghanistan ever since the Soviets invaded, followed up by the Afghan Jihad, then the civil war, and then the war on terror in the last 2 decades of this century. Pakistan has continuously been victim of this. 86,000 plus lives lost, $152 billion of economic losses, and still counting. Let me just dilate on how Pakistan's armed forces have coped with the challenge in the last 2 decades and continuously invested in improving the security situation along the Pakistan-Afghanistan international border. While we were involved in this war on terror, during the last 2 decades we've had 3 major escalations on our eastern border. 2001 and 2, 2008, and latest in 2019. We were deployed on the eastern border, we were deployed on the western border as there was a massive conflict going on in Afghanistan, and there were terrorist incidents happening inside Pakistan, so we were also deployed on internal security in all cities and villages. At the peak of this period, there were more than 90 incidents happening, terrorist incidents happening in a year in Pakistan. While this was happening, come 2014, and the ceasefire violations peaked. Since 2014, we have 12,312 ceasefire violations on our eastern border. During these 20 years, we conducted 1,237 major and minor operations and cleared more than 46,000 square kilometers of area along our western borders from the presence of terrorists and their infrastructure. During all this, we lost politicians, soldiers, generals, artists, women, children, journalists, students from every segment of society. That is what constitutes the 86,000 plus who have given their lives in this war. But Alhamdulillah, with the support of our great nation, our law enforcement agencies, our armed forces were able to turn the tide, and we came out of this thing. As soon as we were able to establish normalcy along the borders and inside Pakistan, we started working for enhancing our border security to ensure longevity of this success. By up to 2012, there was no coordinated mechanism on Pakistan-Afghanistan border. So to address that, we went for a tripartite border SOP, then in 2014, then bilateral border SOP in 2014, bilateral military coordination SOP in 2015, and then Afghanistan-Pakistan Action Plan for Peace and Stability in 2018. It had 5 groups within this, with military working group being just one of those. So we were reaching out to Afghan government to formalize the border control mechanism, because that we felt was the answer to this instability which was existing along the Pakistan-Afghanistan border on both sides. So that is what we have been trying to do all along. However, we reciprocated. Well, most of these initiatives were not really responded well to, less the one in 2018. And then we also went for intelligence sharing mechanism, but that also did not materialize the way we wanted it to be. Now, during this period, as we reached out on military to military level to the Afghan army and Afghan government, some major highlights of the assistance that we offered. I'll just give you some points on that. There were several high-level visits conducted by the Pakistani military leadership in Afghanistan, 4 visits by the Chief of Army Staff during this period. We offered a mechanism for intelligence sharing. We offered training of Afghan soldiers and officers in Pakistan armies and Pakistan Air Force training institutions. We offered it several times. Only 6 Afghan cadets came to Pakistan during this period. However, hundreds and thousands of Afghan army officers and soldiers went for training to India. And several Indian Army's training teams were placed in Afghanistan to train Afghanistan's National Army and their forces. We even invited the Afghan Chief of Army Staff to Pakistan as a chief guest on one of the parades of Pakistan Military Academy. We also offered the Afghan Army to train and equip a complete brigade-size force, gratis, on gratis basis, with our equipment and everything. And this was offered as late as the last visit of the Chief of Army Staff to Afghanistan. We offered them, we'll equip a complete brigade for you and train them. All this while, the GLOCs stayed open, which were the main logistic lifeline of the US and NATO forces operating in Afghanistan. And why were we doing this? Why were we offering this all along? Why were we so adamant at rooting out terrorists from this side? Why did we conduct so many operations on our side? Why did we go for this enhancing this border security mechanism, because we had never doubted that peace in Afghanistan is directly linked to peace in Pakistan. So if there is conflict, if there is unrest in Afghanistan, it has a direct impact on Pakistan, and we are all witnesses to that. So it was a very sincere effort all along. But what needs to be seen here is that Pakistan has repeatedly been cautioning the world about negative role played by spoilers of peace in Afghanistan for their own vested interests, and they continue to do so, and we've been highlighting it at every forum. Coming over to the, while we were conducting operations on the western border, while there were massive CFVs going on the eastern border, while we were deployed in internal security in hinterland also, there was a massive capacity enhancement initiative initiated in 2017. Chief of Army Staff, General Qamar Javed Bajwa, he gave a vision of securing the western borders comprehensively. And that is where we went for this comprehensive border management regime. Some of the details of that, we raised more than 60 new wings for the Frontier Corps in Balochistan and in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa to enhance the capacity of FC, which is always manning the borders, and because of the increased threat across. Then we upgraded the technology and surveillance and biometric systems which were deployed on our major border terminals, and we are still continuously upgrading them and bringing in state-of-the-art technology to make sure that it works. We constructed hundreds of border forts and new posts along the 2,611 kilometer long Pakistan-Afghanistan border. The border fence, this was a massive undertaking. When it started, just to start this project was a massive initiative. Alhamdulillah, now more than 90% of the Pakistan-Afghanistan border has been fenced. And during this fencing, many Pakistani soldiers have sacrificed their lives. And presently we are also working on the Pakistan-Iran international border to fence that as well. That is also, I believe, more than 50% progress has been achieved on that border as well. On Pakistan-Afghanistan border, we have 1,238 border posts and forts, whereas what do we have on the other side? Just 377 posts, with miles and miles of distance in between. So it's practically not possible for that side to see who's moving where. So it was a one-sided affair, continued to be one-sided affair. Now, after 2 decades of this century, we can say that we have fought off this menace of terrorism fairly well. And that too as a nation, with a whole-of-nation approach. The operations, Operation Sherdil, Al-Mizan, Rah-e-Rast, Rah-e-Nijat, Zarb-e-Azb, Operation Khyber 1, 2, 3, Operation Dawatoi, North Waziristan, and the countrywide continuing Operation Raddul Fasad. All these operations are an epitome of insurmountable spirit, supreme sacrifice, and whole-of-nation efforts. That's how we need to look at it. In addition to this, Pakistan's security forces are also deployed along the CPEC projects and also giving sacrifices over there. And we are ensuring the security of these projects. Of late, when we I think most of the investigation details have also been shared with you for Dasu, Lahore, Quetta and Gwadar incidents. All incidents were planned and executed from Afghanistan with the help of NDS and RAW. Just a word about line of control. The ceasefire understanding that was reached in February earlier this year under the 2003 ceasefire agreement, that is holding. Now, what are the dividends of these sacrifices and this peace that we have been able to establish? 199 developmental projects worth 601 billion rupees are in progress in Balochistan under the Government of Pakistan Vision Balochistan 2020. 831 development projects worth 31 billion rupees are in progress in the tribal districts of KP. There has been massive investment and massive progress in infrastructure, health and education related projects, and Pakistan's armed forces are continuously assisting the provincial and federal government in all these projects, may it be their security or may it be some projects. Many projects have been initiated by the deployed troops over there as well. So this in a nutshell was how Pakistan's armed forces have contributed towards security and stability, which is directly connected to the Pakistan-Afghanistan border regions and the kind of sacrifices that we've given. Before I take questions, I would also like to highlight here that 6 September this year, Yom Difa aur Shuhada Pakistan. یہ بھی اس دفعہ ہم انشاءاللہ ہمیشہ کی طرح پوری قوم کے ساتھ مل کے منائیں گے، اور جیسے میں نے آپ کو بتایا جو سیکریفائسز اوور دی ایئرز ہم نے دی ہیں ان کو پوری قوم کے طور پہ ہمیں ان کا حق ادا کرنا ہے. اور 6 ستمبر 1965 کی مناسبت سے یوم دفاع اور شہداء منایا جاتا ہے ہر سال. دس ٹائم دا ٹیگ لائن فار یوم دفاع اور شہداء از وطن کی مٹی گواہ رہنا. اینڈ there will be a ceremony held on 6 September, but it will be held under very strict COVID protocols with a very limited participation. So because of that, میری یہ ریکویسٹ ہے آپ کی وساطت سے پوری قوم سے کہ آپ کے علاقوں میں، آپ کی گلیوں محلوں میں، شہروں گاؤں میں جہاں جہاں شہداء کے گھر ہیں، ان کے لواحقین رہتے ہیں، وی نیڈ ٹو ریچ آؤٹ ٹو دیم. ہمیں ان کے گھروں میں جا کے ان کو سلام کرنا ہے، اور جو قربانی انہوں نے اس ملک کے لیے دی ہے اس کے لیے ان کا شکریہ ادا کرنا ہے. سو دیٹ وڈ بی آل. تھینک یو ویری مچ فار اے پیشنٹ ہیئرنگ. آئی ول ٹیک کویشچنس ناؤ. جی
سر، بول نیوز سے احمد منصور. جناب صاحب، آپ نے تمام وہ اقدامات اور وہ بتائے ہیں کہ جو وہاں پہ افغانستان کی صورتحال ہے اس پہ پاکستان پہ اگر اثرات ہوتے ہیں تو بارڈر مینجمنٹ وغیرہ سارا آپ نے بتایا ہے. لیکن پھر بھی سر میرا سوال یہ ہے کہ جو وہاں پہ صورتحال تیزی سے بدل رہی ہے، ایک کیوس ہے، حکومت کا ڈھانچہ نہیں ہے، دوسری سائڈ پہ کوئی ان کی پریزنس نہیں ہے سیکورٹی فورسز کی پاک افغان بارڈر پہ، اور جس طرح امریکہ اور مغرب اس حال میں چھوڑ کے اب یہاں سے جا رہے ہیں، اور ابھی کابل کا جو بلاسٹ ہوا ہے ایئرپورٹ کا، اس میں داعش خراسان نے کلیم کیا ہے. تو یہ جو ساری صورتحال ہے اس میں یہ خدشات تقویت پکڑ رہے ہیں کہ پاکستان پر اس کے جو اثرات ہیں پاکستان کی قومی سلامتی پہ وہ کچھ نہ کچھ ضرور آئیں گے. تو ہماری جو فوجی قیادت ہے وہ اس کو کیسے دیکھ رہی ہے، کیا سوچ رہی ہے، کیا پلان کر رہی ہے، اور جو دنیا ہے اس سے کیا توقعات ہیں کہ اس پہ کیا ہونا چاہیے؟
منصور صاحب, this is what I have explained here actually. We expected, these were our apprehensions that the way situation was unfolding in Afghanistan, there can be a spillover into Pakistan. And that is the only reason that we took all these steps And this is not, I mean, these are not overnight steps. We started way back, starting from maybe 2014. That is when we started beefing up our security in these areas. That is when we upped the ante against the terrorist infrastructure which was over there. And after we concluded Zarb-e-Azb, that was the conclusion of major military operations in these areas. Then we started off with Operation Raddul Fasad, and as I said, it covers the complete country, and all law enforcement agencies are involved in that. So these apprehensions were always there. I mean, the leadership, political and military leadership of Pakistan had that kind of foresight that this is something that could happen. So, as I said, despite whatever has happened on that side, Alhamdulillah, the Pakistan-Afghanistan international border, the situation over there is fairly normal. It's pretty much under control. There is no problem over there, and there are no major incidents. But this does not mean that nothing can happen. Something can happen. But we are prepared. It's not that we will be taken unawares on that. Thank you.
Muhammad Nazım, Anadolu News Agency, please.
Muhammad Nazım Taşçı, Anadolu Agency, Turkey. Sir, after Taliban takeover Kabul, Pakistani government has made a statement about the TTP.
About?
Pakistani Taliban. And Islamabad asked Taliban to
ये
take...
माइक थोड़ा करीब करें इनके, माइक थोड़ा
Islamabad government asked Taliban to take action against TTP. So there is a new process in Kabul. New government has been established, establishing. So if Taliban cannot take any action against Pakistani Taliban, what is next step for Pakistan? Is there any military action on the table? Thank you.
Is there?
Any military operation on the table?
See, we've always said that, maintained, and we've always been informing the previous Afghan government as well that TTP had sanctuaries inside Afghanistan. They were using Afghan soil against Pakistan, of course, with the help of the spoilers. But the situation is still very fluid on that side of the border. The Taliban leadership have conveyed that they will not let the Afghan soil to be used against any other country in the world. And we have to take them on their word. And we believe that they will take some very effective measures to ensure that TTP is not able to operate against Pakistan or any other country for that matter from the Afghan soil. So we trust that it will happen. And if they try to operate on this side, well, we are already going after them. As I said, there is no organized infrastructure left in Pakistan, alhamdulillah, of terrorists. We've taken them out of here. And that is why they've taken refuge in Afghanistan. So they cannot operate freely over here. So we have our measures in place, and we are absolutely ready if something happens of that sort.
Muhammad Imran.
सर, तालिबान गवर्नमेंट ने अनाउंस किया है कि वो इस्लामिक स्टेट बनाने जा रहे हैं. माजी में भी उसका एक इम्पैक्ट जो है वो पाकिस्तान पे आता रहा है, खसूसी तौर पे मालाकंड डिवीजन और जो आपके केपी के अभी जो नए डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स हुए हैं. तो अभी आप क्या फोर्स कर रहे हैं कि अगर वहाँ पे शरिया लॉज नाफिज होते हैं तो उसके बाद आपका यहाँ जो इम्पैक्ट आएगा, नहीं आएगा, अगर आएगा तो उसको कैसे काउंटर कर सकते हैं सर?
पाकिस्तान का आइन, पाकिस्तान के कवानीन अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह इस्लामी कवानीन के बिल्कुल तहत हैं, और पाकिस्तान का आइन पाकिस्तान की अवाम की उमंगों का मज़हर है, और वही पाकिस्तान का सिस्टम है और रहेगा इंशाल्लाह. इट विल नॉट अफेक्ट अस.
मतीन अहमद साहब.
जनरल साहब, ये बताइए कि आपने लास्ट भी बहुत सारी ब्रीफिंग्स में फॉरेन ऑफिस भी, ISPR भी हमेशा कहती रही कि अफगानिस्तान में NDS और इंडिया का जो कनेक्शन था दैट वाज अगेंस्ट पाकिस्तान. तो अब ये जब से काबुल फाल हुआ उसके बाद से आप समझते हैं कि NDS इंडिया नेक्सस जो है ये अब टूट चुका है اور اب وہاں سے ہمیں کسی قسم کا کوئی تھریٹ نہیں ہے, چونکہ جتنے بھی واقعات ہوئے آپ نے کہا NDS اور ساتھ را کی کولیبریشن ہے. ود دا چینج آف دا رجیم ان کابل, اب آپ کیا سمجھتے ہیں افغان انٹیلیجنس کے ساتھ ہماری انٹیلیجنس کوآپریشن کس لیول پہ ہوگی؟ کاؤنٹر ٹیررزم کے لیے ہوگی؟ یہ کوآپریشن بڑھے گا؟ کس سمت میں جائے گا؟ اور ہم کتنے محفوظ ہو گئے ہیں چونکہ پریویس رجیم واز اوپنلی اینٹی پاکستان. جی.
Yes, as I said, we have to wait we have to wait for the formulation of a government in Afghanistan, and whatever kind of setup they come up with, I'm sure we'll be more than eager to reach out to them. We've been reaching out to the previous governments also, no matter how anti-Pakistan they have been. India's influence, obviously, we think that it will wane in this region, in Afghanistan. But I would like to point out here, whatever has happened in Afghanistan, we need to understand what has been India's role in this all along. I think whatever investment they made in Afghanistan and the kind of clout that they developed in Afghanistan, it was all done with only one intention, that was to harm Pakistan. They had no love lost for Afghans or the Afghan population. And they did it on all tiers. We kept on, Pakistan's political and military leadership kept on reaching out to the Afghan leadership. But every time, we went there, the moment we got back, there used to be a negative statement out of Afghanistan. Why? Because they poisoned the minds of the Afghan leadership. They poisoned the minds of Afghan military and their intelligence. What was NDS doing all along? They were only helping RAW to cobble up alliances of TTP and Daesh and different terrorist organizations to hurt Pakistan. I think if they had been doing their own job, they would have been much better prepared to take on what's happening today. So India's role has been extremely negative, and I would go to the extent of saying that I think the international community needs to get India in the dock to see what all investment was going on over there to stabilize Afghanistan. And Pakistan, which shares the longest border with Afghanistan, Pakistan is the most natural neighbor of Afghanistan. All logistics go through Pakistan. Being a landlocked country, Afghanistan was maximally dependent on Pakistan. But it had to have good working relationship, and maximum efforts were done from Pakistan. But unfortunately, it was not reciprocated, and what was in the background, I think we all know today.
Mohammad Afzal, Iranian News Agency.
Thank you, General Sir. I'm here from Iranian official news agency. Pakistan asking for some inclusive government in Afghanistan. Can you please share with us what type of government you're looking in Afghanistan? And my second question regarding is military contact between Iran and Pakistan or Afghanistan. And are we expecting any visit of any high-level military delegation from Iran to...
Are we expecting any?
Any military delegation? From yes, from Iran to Pakistan, as there are reports that Chief of Staff of Iranian Armed Forces General Baghri will be visiting Pakistan in near future.
You see, as far as the government is concerned, well, it's not our concern. I'm a military man. I'm sure it will be an Afghan-led, an Afghan-owned solution. Whatever happens over there goes beyond my purview. If you're talking of a military delegation of the Afghan army?
From Iran.
From Iran?
Yes, sir.
No, I'm not privy of that. I'm not privy to that. There is no such thing. Yeah. Yes.
Khalid sir, from Express News, please. Welcome.
خالد محمودی ایکسپریس ٹی وی سے. جنرل صاحب, سپر پاور نے 20 سال لگائے افغانستان میں نیشنل آرمی بنانے کے لیے. اس کے بعد اس کا نہیں اندازہ ہوا کہ وہ آرمی کدھر گئی. اور دوسرا یہ کہ طالبان کی جو قیادت ہے, کیا ملٹری لیول پہ ان کے ساتھ کوئی ایسا رابطہ ہوا ہے کہ وہ لوگ جو وردی جنہوں نے پہنی ہوئی تھی وہ لوگ کدھر گئے؟ اور وہ ایک اطلاعات یہ بھی ہیں کہ وہ پاکستان داخل ہونے کی کوشش کرتے ہیں اور کچھ لوگ وہاں سے امریکہ اور برطانیہ جانے کی بھی کوشش کر رہے ہیں. کیا انٹیلیجنس اطلاعات ہیں کہ یہ وہی لوگ ہیں جو افغانستان سے بھاگنا چاہ رہے ہیں؟
Frankly, I don't have any information on where ANA and NDSF soldiers have gone. Obviously, they are still in Afghanistan. But as far as our information is concerned, as I said, the situation on our border with Afghanistan is absolutely normal, and the movement on both sides is being regulated, and we are very well aware of who's coming on this side and who's going on that side. So I don't have any more information on this account. And as far as the Taliban, you said Taliban military delegation. Well, they have to form a government first, and obviously whenever they come up with an answer to how they are going to look after their security, if they seek any kind of assistance in training from Pakistan will be more than forthcoming. We were forthcoming even before, and we will be forthcoming even after that. But it has to be a government-to-government level thing. It can't be the military's decision to engage on its own.
Ms. Sofia from CNN.
Thank you, General Babar. Can you hear me? Okay, my question is about the borders. You were talking about the situation being normal. I just want some clarity on a possible refugee crisis. Are there concerns regarding that? Because we've been seeing images of, people gathering at Spin Bolduc now as well, and numbers increasing at Chaman. Can you just explain that a little bit, please?
You talking of refugees?
Yes.
No, there are no refugees.
Nothing yet? Okay.
No
Thank you.
refugees. No.
Mr. Javed Shahzad Osaf.
جیسا میں جاوید شہزاد ہوں, اوصاف نیوز اسلام آباد سے. میں صرف پوچھنا چاہوں گا کہ امریکی افواج کے انخلاء کے حوالے سے بھارت کے جو دفاعی تجزیہ کار تھے وہ جنرل قمر جاوید باجوہ اور DG ISI جنرل فیض حمید کو مبارکباد پیش کریں ان کی کامیاب ملٹری حکمت عملی پر. لیکن دوسری جانب سر مودی سرکار جو ہے پاکستان کا جو پیس پروسیس ہے اس کو متنازع بنانے کے لیے ڈس انفارمیشن پھیلا رہی ہے, جس کو کاؤنٹر کرنے کے لیے ہماری حکمت عملی کیا ہوگی؟
Pakistan's role in the peace process has been extremely positive, and it has been acknowledged across the board. Everybody has acknowledged the role that Pakistan's political and military leadership has played in this peace process. So this is the only counter that we have, because it's out there. The proof is in the pudding. It's there. That's it. Thank you.
Mumtaz Bhatti sir from Din.
ممتاز بھٹی سر, دین ٹی وی سے. یہ بتائیے گا, یہ جو لوگ آپ نے بتایا 4500 آپ نے بتایا, 4500 لوگ ابھی تک فارنر آپ نے کہا کہ پاکستان میں آئے ہیں, 130 فلائٹ, ان کا یہاں پہ کتنا سٹے ہوگا؟ اور دوسرا یہ جو اسپین بولدک والی انہوں نے بات کی, کچھ ویڈیوز آئی ہیں آج جس میں یہ ظاہر ہوتا ہے کہ وہاں پہ لوگوں کا ایک ہجوم موجود ہے جو پاکستان آنا چاہتا ہے. اس کے کیا امکانات ہیں اور ہم اس کو کیسے ریکٹیفائی کریں گے کہ اس کے آڑ میں, کچھ مہاجرین کی آڑ میں اگر ISIS کے لوگ ادھر داخل ہونے کی کوشش کرتے ہیں تو ہمارے اس کے لیے کیا حکمت عملی ہے اس کو کاؤنٹر کرنے کے لیے؟
دیکھیے, میں نے جیسے کہا کہ ہم نے میکسیمم میجرز اپنے بارڈرز پہ لیے ہیں. وی ہیو مووڈ آور ریگولر ٹروپس آن دا بارڈرز, اور ابھی اس وقت جو ٹو اینڈ فرو موومنٹ ہے افغان بارڈر پہ وہ بہت ڈیلیجنس کے ساتھ اس کو مانیٹر کیا جا رہا ہے اور اس کو کنٹرول کیا جا رہا ہے. میں یہ نہیں کہہ رہا کہ میں نہیں کہہ سکتا کہ اس میں کوئی somebody may not slip across. ہو سکتا ہے, بالکل ہو سکتا ہے, but that may be an odd slip. But on the whole, inshallah, we are taking care of things, and our forces are in place, our mechanisms are in place, and they are in place well in time and established. So inshallah, I don't think there is any need to worry about anything.
Mr. Bilal from Al-Bayt.
I have just one question. A few days ago I visited Turkhan border. I have seen by my own eyes, there are Afghan families who have half of the family in Pakistani side, and they are still waiting on their side. So the question is, they are not refugees, they are settled here in Pakistan since long, but they went for a visit and the situation occurred and they are stuck there. The question is, for how long the crossing will be closed in the front of them?
How long?
How long the crossing will be closed in the front of them?
As I said, the crossings are not closed. The crossings are functioning. The only thing is that, we are only allowing people to cross with documents. And yes, there are a lot of people who want to come across, and that's why it is taking time. But as and when we get any kind of information, as the one that you've shared right now, it is taken care of. So, as I said, it's a very fluid situation right now, so it may take a little while, but we have not closed the crossings. The crossings are open, but people are moving on both sides of the border with proper documents. It's not free for all. That's how it is being managed right now.
Ali Salman, Public News.
सलमान अली फ्रॉम पब्लिक न्यूज़। मेरा सवाल है कि भी आपने कहा कि आहिस्ता आहिस्ता शायद टाइम लगेगा कि एनडीएस का या रॉ का जो नेक्सस है वो आहिस्ता आहिस्ता उसको ख़त्म होने में वक्त लगेगा। तो अभी तालिबान जब अपनी गवर्नमेंट कायम करते हैं, उनकी गवर्नमेंट आती है, अभी तो सिचुएशन फ्लूइड है, तो आप कितना एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं कि उनकी जानिब से, जिनको पूरी दुनिया खुद टेररिस्ट कहती है, हम अगर एंटी टेररिस्ट कार्रवाई करते हैं अपनी सरजमीन पे या अफगान सॉइल पे कोई पाकिस्तान के खिलाफ कोई कार्रवाई होती है, तो हमें तालिबान से या तालिबान की गवर्नमेंट से कितना ताउन जो है वो एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं? दूसरा, आपने कहा कि यू आर अ मिलिट्री मैन, तो ऑन अ लाइटर नोट आपने बताया कि जो इंडियन आर्मी है उनके ट्रेनर्स ने अफ़गान नेशनल आर्मी को ट्रेन किया, तो अफ़गान नेशनल आर्मी का एकदम जो डिसअपीयर हो गई या फिजल आउट हो गई, क्या उसमें क्या इंडियन ट्रेनिंग का भी कोई हाथ था?
देखिए, आपका पहला सवाल क्या था?
तालिबान गवर्नमेंट अगर एस्टेब्लिश होती है, सिचुएशन अभी फ्लूइड है, तो
ऑफ कोर्स government to government contact established hoga, and we do expect a very cordial relationship at the government level, and उसी के दौरान जो भी तबादला होगा ख्यालात का और जो भी बातचीत है वो I believe let the government be formed, and it's a policy level decision, but I think there is reason to be optimistic on the way things are. As far as the meltdown of Afghan army is concerned, well, training could be one thing, leadership is another, and then the will to fight, well, it all boils down to that. And why didn't they fight? I think this needs to be, the reasons, they need to be studied, they need to be analyzed, inquired, and in time we will know. But as I said, it was against expectations. It was completely against expectations, and there are a lot of views out already on this account. So suffice to say that I would not like to delve more into this thing.
Sir, this is Wasim Abbasi from Saudi Urdu News. Sir, recently we have seen a spike in attacks against Chinese nationals in Pakistan, which has created concerns about China-Pakistan economic cooperation. So what additional measures are being taken to avoid repeat of such incidents and ensure our friends of security?
Yes, there have been a few incidents on that account, and they have been discussed at the highest level, and already massive, very comprehensive security measures are in place to cater for this thing. And if there is a requirement, this security will be beefed up further if there is a requirement. So Ministry of Interior is looking after this subject. I'm sure they'll be briefing you if there is any change on that. Thank you.
Sir, there are reports and the resistance leaders gathered in Panjshir, in the valley of Panjshir, have been seeking the international community's support to supply them with weapons. And now some images have emerged from the valley of Panjshir showing that they do have, or they are in possession of state-of-the-art military equipment.
They do have?
State-of-the-art military equipment. This could possibly lead to a civil war in Afghanistan. How do you see international community's role in stopping the possibility of a civil war? And secondly, there are reports that alongside the European nationals and American nationals, people, the Afghan embassy, the staff, their Afghan staff is also being brought to Pakistan. Can you confirm that? The Afghan nationals who have been working with different international organizations and embassies in Kabul, they are also being brought to Pakistan.
I'm not aware of this detail. Obviously, the Foreign Office will be able to inform you on this thing. As far as what's happening in Panjshir, there was always a fear of civil war breaking out in Afghanistan, but I think it's too early to give a final verdict on that. As I said, the situation is still very fluid in Afghanistan, and let's hope that there is no situation of civil war in Afghanistan, hopefully.
Mr. Agrawal from DAT.
Sir, there are news that contractors, I mean local contractors who had been working with the US forces, they may arrive to Pakistan and they may stay over here before their departure to United States. And they people are those who had been working very closely with the NDS, directly or indirectly. Don't you think their arrival in Pakistan and their stay in Pakistan could be dangerous for Pakistan, because they are the same lot who had been working against Pakistan while sitting in Kabul?
And they have connections.
And their connection with RAW is very clear, sir.
Well, one, I don't think they'll stay, if at all they are amongst those being evacuated. I don't think they'll stay will be very long. And obviously, the people who are coming to Pakistan and being evacuated from here are being kept in very, secure and limited places, and it's not a free-for-all thing. So mechanisms are in place to take care of all these things. Thank you.
سر ہمارے ویسٹرن بارڈر پہ جو صورتحال ہے، افغانستان کے جو حالات ہیں، ماضی میں پوری دنیا جانتی ہے کہ این ڈی ایس اور را کا جو کردار رہا ہے پاکستان میں، دہشت گردی کے بہت سے واقعات جو ہیں جڑے ہیں اس کے ساتھ، اور بہت سے ہم ڈوزیئرز بھی دیتے رہے انٹرنیشنل کمیونٹی کو اس حوالے سے. تو اب جو افغانستان کی سچویشن ہے جس کی طرف پوری دنیا کی نظر ہے، ہماری بھی نظریں ہیں، اور ملٹری ڈپلومیسی بھی چل رہی ہے. ہمارے آرمی چیف صاحب جو ہیں وہ پوری دنیا کے چیف سے رابطے میں بھی ہیں، جو افیکٹو چیف. سر اس میں کوئی ایسٹرن بارڈر سے کوئی دہشت گردی کا کوئی اضافہ دیکھ سکتے ہیں؟ کچھ اس طرح کے واقع ہو سکتے ہیں کہ ڈسٹیبلائزیشن کی کوشش کی جائے بھارت کی طرف سے، جو کہ پہلے ہی پاکستان میں دہشت گردی کے بہت سے واقعات خاص طور پر بلوچستان میں انوالو ہے، کے پی میں انوالو ہے، تو مزید اس میں کچھ ہو سکتا ہے اور ہماری تیاری کس حد تک ہے اسے نپٹنے کے لیے؟
دیکھیے، واقعات تو ظاہر ہے کوشش کی جا سکتی ہے اس بارے میں. دیر آر سو مینی فورسز ایٹ پلے آن دیٹ اکاؤنٹ, but as I said, alhamdulillah, we've taken our measures, we've taken our guards, so we'll take care of that, inshallah. There's nothing to worry about it, inshallah.
Mr. Usman from Sama TV.
سر افغانستان میں جتنا امن ضروری ہے اتنا ہی معاشی استحکام جو ہے وہ بھی ان کے لیے بہت ضروری ہے. اس وقت کیا صورتحال ہے؟ کیونکہ ہم یہ دیکھتے ہیں کہ امریکہ کی جانب سے ان کے فنڈز فریز کر دیے گئے اور باقی دنیا بھی یہ کہہ رہی ہے کہ طالبان کے ہاتھ یہ پیسہ نہیں لگنا چاہیے. تو کیا یہ بھی رپورٹس آ رہی ہیں کہ اب افغانوں کے لیے ان کی جو خوراک کا بندوبست ہے وہ بھی پاکستان نے کرنا ہے اور یہاں سے بہت ساری اشیاء جو ہے وہ افغانستان بھجوائی جائیں گی؟ کیا ایسی کوئی پالیسی بنائی گئی ہے؟
دیکھیے، میں جیسے میں نے کہا تھا، میں ملٹری مین، میں اسی تک اپنے آپ کو محدود رکھنا چاہتا ہوں. آئی ایم شیور the international community is aware of this thing, and it will not be allowed to be converted into an humanitarian issue. So we will help out, Pakistan will help out, but I would not like to comment on that. Thank you very much.
Mr. Javed Baloch from New TV.
سر جاوید بلوچ نیو ٹی وی سے. سر جیسے افغانستان کی صورتحال ہے، پوری دنیا کی نظریں افغانستان پر ہیں،
تو آپ کیا دیکھ رہے ہیں کہ کب تک یہ صورتحال نارملائز ہو جائے گی, حالات نارمل ہو جائیں گے؟ کیونکہ ڈائریکٹ افیکٹ آتا ہے پاکستان پر. افغانستان میں اگر امن نہیں ہوگا تو پاکستان اس کا جو ہے وہ بھگتے گا. تو ایک تو یہ بتائیں کہ صورتحال کب تک نارمل ہو جائے گی, آپ کیا دیکھ رہے ہیں؟ اور دوسرا, جیسے کہ ترکی نے آفر کی اپنے سیکورٹی پیش کرنے کے لیے, تو کیا پاکستان کچھ سوچ رہا ہے کوئی وہاں پہ امن کے قیام کے لیے یا سیکورٹی کے لیے اپنی خدمات پیش کرنے کے لیے؟ اور دوسرا سر, میرا کوشچن یہ ہے یوم دفاع کے حوالے سے کہ سر جو لوکل لوگ ہیں وہاں پہ گاؤں دیہات میں, جو شہداء کے گھر ہیں وہاں پہ, تو کیا کوئی وہاں پہ لوکل ایڈمنسٹریشن کوئی پلان کر رہی ہے وہاں پر جانے کا, یا وہاں پہ کوئی ایونٹس جو ہے انہیں خراج عقیدت پیش کرنے کا؟ سر
جی بالکل. پہلی بات تو یہ ہے کہ حالات کس طرح کے ہوں گے, آگے کیا جائیں گا, آئی تھنک ایوری بڈی اسپیکولیٹنگ اباؤٹ اٹ. نو بڈی کین سے فار شیور کہ حالات کب نارمل ہوں گے اور کیسے نارمل ہوں گے. سو اینڈ آئی وڈ ناٹ لائک ٹو اسپیکولیٹ آن دس تھنگ. وی آر ہوپنگ فار دا بیسٹ اینڈ دیٹ تھنگس گیٹ بیٹر ایز سون ایز پاسبل. As I said, we've taken our measures, whatever it is, and whenever there's a government-to-government contact established, I'm sure Pakistan will reach out. There is no doubt about that. شہداء کا جو آپ نے بات کی, بالکل تمام جو ہماری کورز ہیں ان کے ایریاز آف رسپانسبلٹی ہیں, آئی ایس ایریاز آف رسپانسبلٹی. وہ اپنے آئی ایس ایریاز آف رسپانسبلٹی کے اندر ہمارے پاس تمام شہداء کی جو فیملیز جہاں جہاں پہ رہ رہی ہوتی ہیں ان کی لسٹ ہے ہر فارمیشن کے پاس. سو انشاءاللہ تمام کورس کے اندر جو اسٹیشن ہیڈ کوارٹرز اور مختلف فارمیشنز ہیں وہ دے ول بی ریچنگ آؤٹ. اور ہماری جو شہداء کو سلام کیمپین ہے جو ہم انشاءاللہ 1 سپٹمبر سے شروع کریں گے, اس میں وی ول آلسو ریکویسٹ آل آف یو میڈیا کے نمائندے بھی, جہاں جہاں پہ ہم آپ کو لے کے جا سکے ان کے گھروں میں ان تک لے کے جائیں گے ٹو pay our respects to the شہداء and ان سے وابستہ جو رشتے ہیں ان سب کو سلام کرنے کے لیے. تھینک یو.
Last question, please.
Sir, Faisal Raza Khan, I am the senior correspondent from 92 News. My first question is related to that our Pakistani military leadership is already engaged internationally on Afghan issue. But how do you see particularly any visit or any contact established with the regional militaries, China, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Iran and all other countries who have the very pivotal role in establishing peace in Afghanistan, because that is directly linked with all regional countries, number one. And the second is that there are reports that India keep on using wild animals to tag them and for surveillance and spying in LOC and different areas. Rather, because that is quite easy to have surveillance and spying on military assets and the military movements. So how do you see that particular aspect? Because internationally that is already very much condemned, particularly by the Greenpeace and all others, to use wild animals for military purposes. Thank you, sir.
As far as your first question is concerned, well, there is no military-to-military contact between other countries as of now to whatever is happening in Afghanistan. It's staying at the government-to-government level, and that's how it will stay for a while till the time things clear out and the dust settles. Yes, your concern about use of animals for such means is absolutely genuine, and I'm sure and I hope that the world holds them responsible for stooping so low. But surveillance is an ongoing thing, and different surveillance means are used along the borders and LOC, and we are aware of those surveillance means, and we are taking our measures to counter that. Right.